Holland-Nelson, co-host of Culture Club HTX. And we have such a great show for you today. I don't even know if I can bear to introduce the other gal here. Who are you?
I thought you meant gal. Anyway, Shavonnah Robert Schreiber, the other half of Culture Club HTX, and we really do have a good show. Super
and
excited.
In the middle of us, we have the one and only David Gow, back really to talk about his new gig in the business segment, but we roped him in for CJ's Corner. You're doing sports with us.
Well, sure.
Welcome.
And I go down as your most frequent guest.
Yes.
Going out with my
Yes.
third appearance here?
Yes.
That's pretty strong.
That's why we have
Yes.
Prosecco.
You are not only that, you will continue to be our most frequent guest.
I've never said no to you all in any way. When I'm summoned, I show.
We
I'm
appreciate
so happy.
it.
I can't tell you how y'all can't see me, but I'm grinning like a crazy
Well, she was
person.
trying to have the whole show before the show, so I'm glad that
Yeah,
we're
a little
actually
chat
on
out in the hallway,
Yeah,
that's right.
Hallway
It's
chat.
true. She thinks I talk too much in
That's not
advance.
true.
However, first we're going to start with the Olympics.
Yes.
And our precious Simone Biles.
Simone,
I mean,
amazing.
What a woman. And she had therapy through the entire Olympics.
Well, of course.
That is, well, hey, a lot of people have been in therapy, but like every day, not so much. So, and my guess is it was pretty much every day from the way it's described. So, I'm just so happy that she found a way to keep level and keep winning and win 3 golds and 1 silver and just, what is she's
Being
the
the
most,
GOAT. She's the GOAT.
She's the GOAT, but she's the most medaled ever female gymnast.
Is that true?
She is the GOAT. And one thing I was observing, and we all know her history in needing therapy and working
Yes.
through mental health questions.
Yes.
But what I really perceived, and I'm just watching, but that she was having fun. I mean, you
Yes.
could see the beam on her face. It looked like she was really enjoying the ride this
joy.
time. And why not? Why shouldn't she? This is her stage. This is her time, and she's the best in the world. And it was great to see her just burst out and be in a great place mentally.
And
we're
the
talking
bow to what's her name at the end.
Very special.
That was just so
yes.
incredible. And the two of them were like the parentheses, but they bowed. That was amazing. Amazing. But supposedly they have a pretty good friendship anyway.
Oh, I think so.
The gymnasts. Yeah. So that was really cool. But she did highlight the importance through the entire Olympics, every interview of her mental health. So I just think we're fortunate to have someone like Simone touting that it's not just physical health that makes you well. I mean, you have to be
Absolutely.
well on every segment of your life.
No, I think right now she stands as one of the most vocal, visible people advocating mental health, advocating concern for people's mental health. She's been a great spokesperson for it. And it's rare you get somebody at the top of the game to also be talking about mental health. And so this is a wonderful intersection. Somebody so prominent and notable being a great voice for advocating mental health. I've really been so impressed by her, particularly this Olympic season.
And she hasn't ruled out the next Olympics.
It'd
Well,
be
she
amazing.
shouldn't. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to
She's
be
top of
in
the
the
world right
United
now.
States. So, you know, how could she not if she can in her home country?
Be amazing. I'd love to go to the Olympics. I've never been to the Olympics.
Are you inviting us to the Olympics? We'll go.
I'm
Yes.
thinking this show needs to be on site in
Hello.
Los Angeles
Now
at
we're
the
talking.
Olympics.
Your
Yes.
mouth to God's ears.
Yes.
You know, why not?
Why not?
Make it happen, David. No pressure.
We have another kind of goat here.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
very first Texans Hall of Famer, Andre Johnson.
Love Andre.
Did you see the speech? And the sculpture was beautiful. And
Indeed.
his mother, oh my gosh. I don't know anyone who didn't cry when he dedicated everything to her
Oh, that
and
is very
gave her
sweet.
the Hall of Fame of motherhood. And I'm sorry, what a boy. I know he's a man, but just great.
But he was exceptional on the field. You know, one thing about his career, his numbers were outstanding as a wide receiver.
Yes.
But he never really had a top flight quarterback throwing the football to him. And yet he put up great numbers. So really
very good
impressive
point.
on the field. And then off the field, he's been a great ambassador for the brand of the Houston Texans.
He really has. And so many were there. I mean, it was also great that the Texans played the Hall of Fame game. So they were there the next day.
Yes.
So the team was there and his old teammates were there.
And his old coach, Gary Kubiak.
Yeah.
That's a name you hadn't heard in a long time. It's happy
Yeah.
to see him there and present him with
Yeah.
the award.
Yeah,
Amazing.
The amazing thing about Gary Kubiak, of course, is he was fired from the Texans and then he went over to the Broncos and won a Super Bowl.
First season.
And he,
I mean, a little bit of a flex.
Yeah.
quite a flip. He went from the sort of the low to the high. Kubiak, of course, a great coach and
Yes.
somebody who's made a mark on the game
Yes.
over many, many years.
Yes, well, we're excited. We know we got some more Hall of Famers coming from the Texans, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
So J.J. Watt will be, I think, a first ballot Hall of Famer. You
for
can't
sure.
deny the impact
like,
he
how
had on
old
the
does
field.
he have to be? Oh, first ballot, 2028.
Yeah, you have to be out of the league for 5
Yeah,
years
okay.
before you're eligible for vote. And so in 2028 will be the 5-year mark, unless, and there's always this whisper and possibility,
That he comes back.
He comes back, and then he would restart the clock.
Well, you know he's dying to play with CJ.
So could you come
I
back?
think he's dying to play with CJ.
And for
That's what she
D'Amico.
wants.
And,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Of course, he
And
knew
for
D'Amico from his time here.
Yeah.
She wants to believe.
Well, it
well,
would
and
be,
Will
would be special.
Anderson.
I mean, it would be great.
Yeah,
And
interestingly,
Tank Dell. I love this team. I mean, I love
We know.
this team.
yeah, no, it's a great team. Now, they do have some good guys on the edges. I mean, Will Anderson's a great pass rusher. Daniel Hunter is going to be a great pass rusher for this team. So JJ's not the top need, but he's such a force of nature
Yeah.
and he's such a leader. To have him in that clubhouse, I think, would be a really great addition.
He looks great.
So JJ, if you're listening, we
yeah,
think
we want you back.
you should say yes. Okay, so we must talk about the Astros because somebody who I'll just stare at.
Stop
silently.
calling me that. She thinks I'm a fair weather.
I didn't say that. All I know is the following: the Astros started off a little bumpy this season,
A
Yes.
little.
and everyone was like, "Oh, it's over." And now it's very quiet. I'm not saying that anymore. You know why? Because they're on top.
Well, it's a long season. You
It's
gotta
a
remember
long.
that.
That's what I said.
She said it from the very beginning.
'Cause
It
you
was a
know.
long season, but I'm very much that person that jumps off the couch and runs away.
You and a lot of the city, we were all worried about them, right? But one of the amazing
Except
things,
for me.
you know, what's really fun as a fan is when your team comes into the season with low expectations and then greatly overachieves.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem with the Astros is they've spoiled us. They've been so good for so long now that we come in with really high expectations, and if they don't perform to that level, well, then it's dire and awful and disaster.
Unless you're Shavonnah and you say, "Everyone, keep calm. It's going to be okay."
She knew.
She did. She
Well,
did. If you
Magical
go back
knew
and
too.
listen
Look,
to our
he's on
first
the show.
shows,
Magic Mike believed it too.
Yeah, he believes in me.
All the way.
Yeah, all the way.
let's get real. I watched him guys, a few times
Well, you always watch him because Magic Mike stands there in his underwear. I don't know why.
because
Oh my
he thinks
God.
it looks good.
Yeah.
Hey, do it. Do
You
it.
know, anyway,
so
so-
last
I saw the
sports
movie.
thing,
Yes.
CJ. So did you hear about all this It's related to CJ because there's been all this chatter around contracts, quarterback contracts in the
Two new
NFL.
guys.
And
Yeah.
so now it's like, what does this mean for CJ? What are the implications? What are your thoughts?
I mean, escalating the $220 million for Jordan Love and what's his name, Tua. We saw Tua. Were you there? Tua was. What did he win? I don't know. He was winning something. I was there. It wasn't Lombardi, but it was something.
He was here
He was
winning
here.
something.
Yeah. Anyway, $212 million for him. New benchmarks in the NFL. I don't know what CJ got, but not enough. I'm going to say.
Well, so the way
Hear
that
me, sweetie.
is set up. No, the NFL has a really organized structure
Sorry, Hannah and Carol.
for draft picks. I mean, he's only played 1 year, and all the rookies, they get a 4-year agreement. So he's under contract for the next 3 years. And then, as a guy who was drafted in the first round, the Texans have an option to make that 4th year into a 5th year, but the 5th year is a whole lot more money. And to be sure, CJ's going to get paid at some point. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, he'll get a Tua type deal. He'll probably do, I mean, it's time. Look, contracts go up every year. He'll get a monster contract when his day comes. But the good news for the Texans is he's on his rookie deal for the next several years, and they don't have to allocate a lot of dollars to the quarterback position, which is what consumes most teams' salary cap, is the quarterback. So they have this chance to spend their dollars on other players. And that's why, like, Stephon Diggs came over. He's a wide receiver. He's a highly paid guy. The Texans can take on that contract, fit him in within their whole salary cap picture, because CJ's rookie deal is still very, very inexpensive for his productivity on the field.
You know what? You actually know what you're talking about. No, seriously, I'm listening. I'm like, that is all true.
Does owning ESPN
I
Radio
mean, it's
have
just all
anything to do
true.
with
I
that?
appreciate that. I just appreciate people who are competent. That's
I
great.
learned everything I knew from John Granato.
I thought you were going to say from me.
From you.
Oh!
Well, everything about the
I was like,
Astros from
waiting.
you. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I can't thank you enough because seriously, this is stuff I care a whole lot about.
Well,
I want to know what's going on. We're going to the opening,
17th, right?
August
Next week.
17th, the home opener.
Oh, good.
For preseason,
Yes.
and then the opening game is September 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a situation, but I have to fix it so I can be there.
You better be there.
I do have to be
You have
there.
a situation. I like situations.
Yeah. Mhm.
Solving problems.
Yeah, but anyway, CJ, my darling, don't worry, we'll take care of you.
Oh, he'll get his money if he continues to play well. And there's every expectation he will. I think getting their offensive coordinator back is a really great point of continuity for this team. And then look at CJ. Adding Stephon Diggs is a wonderful addition to the receiving core. Look, Tank Dell is really good, and I love what Tank Dell's going to do. But adding Stephon is great. He really elevated Josh Allen when Stephon Diggs went to the Bills.
Yep.
And so to bring him in to the Texans, I think will be a really great, strong addition for CJ.
I think we're building a dynasty.
Well, we got a lot of the fundamental building blocks in place. They always say the most important positions on a football field include left tackle, pass rusher, quarterback, of course. And we've got a great quarterback. We've got a great pass rusher in Will Anderson, and we've got a good left tackle in Tunsil. So we're pretty well set up. This Texans team is poised to make a deep run.
And they're all young.
And it's a young team still,
Yeah.
which is really great.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can hold them all together. We talk about contracts. The one downer of getting Stroud and Anderson in the same draft is their rookie deals will expire at the same time.
Yep.
So that'll be a year of a lot of dollars going out of the Texans office.
Well worth it.
Well worth it. And with that, we'll be back.
We'll be back. Bye. Hello, I'm Leisa Holland-Nelson, co-host of Culture Club HTX, here with
Shavonnah Robert Schreiber, the other half of Culture Club HTX, and our special guest who's joining us again, but we'll get to him in a minute.
Well, yeah, but he's going to join us for our conversation so we can introduce David Gow, the new president and CEO of the Center for Houston's Future.
Can I introduce him as a man, the myth, the legend? That's what I've been wanting to say
Please
this whole
do.
time.
Please do.
More myth than man or legend,
Oh,
but sure.
not true.
Go ahead. You
David
do what
Gow,
you like.
The man, the myth, the legend. Over to you, David.
Ooh, I like the way her voice went soft.
See that? You see what I did there?
I'm
That
not
would
buttoning
never
the
be
top
me,
button on
so
my
she's
shirt.
going to be doing
It's getting a little hot in here.
She'll be doing all of your introductions. in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all
Hype
know
woman.
who's got the.
Oh,
Yeah, we know. Okay, so we have a couple of things to talk about that you're going to share with us, and then we're going to talk about the Center for Houston's Future and your vision and why you went there and all that kind of stuff.
And this is an exclusive, folks. This is your first.
Well, it was announced
interview.
really today. We're your first interview.
We're
right?
your first.
You
so
are
you're
the first interview
Look at
about the
us.
center. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And where else should you be but here?
No, I came here first.
Of course.
I hovered around all day in the office
Thank you.
waiting for you to show up.
Waited for us.
I did.
I'm so excited. Well, I did. I have to admit to people, I saw it this morning and texted you in 80 seconds. When can you come on the show?
Today.
At 4 o'clock.
Excellent.
It was perfect.
So Meta, let's talk about them.
Meta.
As I've been saying, I don't know, forever. Of course they're stealing your data. Of course. And of course now, but what I want to say in particular is that everyone knows by now that Meta Platforms, which owns Facebook, Instagram, etc., YouTube machine, agreed to $1.4 billion with the B settlement with the state of Texas. So that's just in Texas for violating privacy. So just imagine the implications as it rolls out throughout the United States, because while of course they'll appeal, I believe that other states will follow our lead and sue, because this is a whole thing. And I will say, I think most people willingly give their information and don't realize it. So I think that's probably going to be the reason that Meta stands on for an appeal. David?
Well, no, they won't appeal this. They've agreed to pay this settlement. This is not up for appeal.
Oh,
The
okay.
Google situation.
Google
is up for
that's up for
appeal.
appeal. Okay.
Meta has agreed to pay the state of Texas, and what they're paying, they've been automatically tagging users' faces in photos on Facebook, breaching the Texas Capture Abuse of Biometric Identifier Act.
So you know what? This is even worse, because if they agree to $1.4 billion,
Everybody's coming after them now.
well, no, it's like that means they have a gajillion dollars and they
Well,
don't
we
care.
know
That means
that.
it's not that big of a deal. It's like, well, okay, we'll pay that. That's
they
a lot of
definitely
money.
have a gajillion dollars.
David, what are your thoughts?
They've got the money. The tension I've always had with this is I like my privacy, sure, but on the other hand, I love it when I go to a site and it recognizes me. It knows it's got information that's relevant to me, and it's been tracking me. And one way they can provide customized information and ads and everything else to me is to have some info on me.
Absolutely.
And so I've not been overly concerned about privacy, but there are real boundaries that need to be set. And obviously, it looks like this has gone
and I
down. They've crossed the line.
Yeah, a lot of underage faces were caught as well. So that was the big thing with it. I have to laugh. There have been times in my life when I used to joke that if you stole my identity, you deserved it. Like, congratulations.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, does that mean you're going to
How's
take
it
care
going to
of
work for you, right? Yeah.
Hey, I agree. So Google, you mentioned their legal battles are continuing.
Yeah, the Department of Justice has just, certified them as a monopoly.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And so the federal courts are going after them. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously, the thing about a monopoly is breaking it up. How do you break it up? Supposedly, they have somewhere between 90 and 98% of the searches being done. But the fact is that there have been so many monopolies. I mean, so many attempts, and for years nobody used anything but Internet Explorer because
I still use
people
Internet
only
Explorer.
used Microsoft products. Then Apple came on the scene, and everybody was on
Safari.
Safari. And then Google the engine just got better and better. And
Well,
so
I use Internet Explorer, I want to make this declaration, in protest, and I have for years, to Google. To exactly what
Well,
we're saying.
I appreciate
I do
that.
it on purpose. I'm like, nope, not Googling it, not doing it.
Interesting. I haven't been on it in years. I do use Bing, which is the same company.
Yeah,
So it's interesting.
I'll use Bing.
Sometimes I use Bing, but it's not the same and it's not as good. I know that as a person who does this for a living in the search engine optimization.
Well, and I think that's
business.
the other part. So they have been able to, have this monopoly and dominate in SEO because they have a monopoly. You know what I mean? They feed each other, right?
Advertising, all of it.
Oh, it does. It's a virtuous or vicious cycle, depending on how you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it wasn't that long ago, I guess it was. But there were lots of search engines like Alta Vista and others that were out there. And then, but of course, you can get to that point when Google got enough critical mass, enough market share, and was making more money, then they were paying the platform companies to make Google the default browser.
Right.
And so then with all their money, then they pay for that, which gives them more presence, more money, because they're selling more ads against that platform. And so it's a virtuous or vicious cycle that Google's been on, and it's given them great scale and great dominance in the search space. And yes, they are a monopoly. Now, remember that Microsoft was sort of in the same boat for a while. They were the default go-to exclusive software that everybody just had to use. And the government busted that up a little bit. And there are alternatives to Microsoft. I mean, Google is one of them, of course.
Not nearly as good.
I don't like it as much
I
either.
don't like it at all.
I much prefer the Microsoft. Maybe I'm just more used to it.
No, I think it's
just
better. It's a better suite for business use. It just is.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, one last thing on monopolies. Do you know who Seth Godin is? I'm sure you do. I get his daily newsletter, and one of the things he said is that often these situations happen, and now you're a monopoly, now you're all pissed off because someone's breaking you up. But if you think back to other companies that were monopolies, they would have done better if they would have broken up. Like they kind of did get too big. Yeah.
They got
too
Xerox,
big, and
Kodak.
it's not good. And so
And
it was
the industries don't exist in it. Like all of it. They never. I remember when General Electric went in the finance business.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody said, "What
GE
are they
Financial.
doing with the credit card?" Yada yada yada. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So
it's just interesting. We'll see what happens with Google, and if they're smart folks, so you would imagine they'll think of something clever to do to get out of this conundrum that they find themselves. But we'll see. But on to more exciting topics.
The most exciting topic we have is our dear David Gall moving on to the Center for Houston's Future as president and CEO. So how did you decide to do this? I'm sure they came after you, but what made you want to change everything so much?
Well, I've long wanted to work on questions of public policy. I've long had a desire to be in public service and make a mark. And it's not easy, some of the things we need to work on with the center. But the center's mission, which is wildly attractive to me, the center's been around for 25 years, and it has been focused on long-range strategic questions for the city. And that's a really exciting frontier for me. So the first thing we will do when I arrive there is work on a project called Houston 2050.
Right.
Now, it's a long time out from now, but the point of the horizon is to try to cast a vision for what we want the city to be, and then put in place initiatives that will lead us to that outcome. And so that'll be the first project, Houston 2050, and we're going to have lots of fronts on that include things like transportation and infrastructure and education, et cetera, et cetera. It will be an exciting time to work on key questions for the city.
I
So
think it's great.
are you familiar with Houston 2030? That the original vision?
I'm
It's
not
sitting there
familiar.
now.
No.
Okay, so
Yeah.
probably 10 or 15 years ago, the Center for Houston's Future introduced 2030, Vision 2030.
Yes.
I don't know how it's done,
Yep.
and obviously with the change in leadership, not as well probably as they wished it had. So this is a whole new opportunity for us, and I think so important because Houston has great leadership organizations, and the purpose of each is different.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
different. And the Center for Houston's Future was always supposed to do what you're talking about. What's next and how do we get there?
Well, and to your point about the other organizations tapping into other people who are expert in certain areas, whether it's government, community, et cetera, business, and bringing those new ideas like that. That's how you build a plan that works. It's not a monolith. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. So we will try to engage as many people with great expertise in these different areas to be part of the development of the plan. In the ideal, when we come out with the plan, there'll have been many people who have contributed to it, who will effectively be evangelists for it, who
Yes.
can go back to their respective areas and say, this is the plan, this is what we need to do, this is the path forward. And there are all kinds of new things, particularly when you think about out in time. I mean, what it would be like, what is it going to be like to be a smart city, a city that uses AI, uses the latest technologies to really operate efficiently and well and for the benefit of the people. And so there'll be lots of frontier to consider here. I'm very excited about the project, and we're going to try to enlist as many thought leaders across the Houston landscape to be part of this planning process.
Well, I'm excited for robotic pothole fillers.
We do need to fill a lot of potholes, don't we?
For those who don't know, I live on Montrose, and daily I get into the elevator in my high-rise building with some neighbors saying, "Oh, I just spent $600 on a tire
Yeah.
yesterday." Like just constant. So hopefully, there's an idea
like,
for
"That's
you.
an idea."
Smart city, robotic pothole fillers.
That might be it. No,
driverless pothole fillers.
we have way too many potholes. Absolutely.
Stare at him until he
Well,
says
we can't
yes.
wait till 2050 to fix them. But so that being said,
I was going to say, Mayor Turner said this great line once. He noted that when he talks to people, they give him two complaints. One is there are too many potholes in the city.
Yes.
But the second complaint is there's way too much road construction going on in the city.
Exactly. And don't raise my taxes.
Well, what is he going to do, right?
Right.
Either way, he's got to fix the potholes.
and inevitably,
and
it's all
nobody
the
wants
same
construction.
place.
Right, it's all
You
right.
can't get there no matter how. Every east-west street has construction
That's
on it.
right.
But so back to, you've just had an extraordinary background, and we're sitting here in the studio for ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. One of your companies, Culture Map, Innovation, all the maps. You have a partnership, I think, with the Greater Houston Partnership and Energy with another product. Of course, you have Culture Club HTX.
I mean,
I don't know why we didn't mention that one first.
she's modest.
Well, she's
we try to
modest,
be.
but
Kinda. I wear it as a brand on
Culture
my
Club
forehead.
HTX right at the top, and then all those other assets.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But so all of that, I appreciate the public service, public policy. I think the one thing that I admire probably most about President Bush 41 is establishing the public service school at the at Texas A&M, which is hard for me to say. But anyway, that
she gotta
school
say it?
is
She
yeah.
did. I heard it.
Public
I'm proud of you.
service isn't something everybody understands.
This is true.
It's going to be hard for you to leave this different everyday thing. Not that that's not going to be different every day. Do you have anything you're worried about missing?
Other than us. But
Well,
you don't
top
have
of the
to
list.
Miss us. You're going to come once a month.
Well, we got Magic Mike right here. Now,
yeah.
what has been fun, and I think it's a neat stepping stone into what I'm about to go do, but what has been fun about the breadth of our digital platforms and the different content categories we cover is we are tapped into the cultural vibe of this city with
Yes.
Culture Map. We're into the innovation scene and the whole innovation infrastructure, the hubs, the ion and the cannon, and so on. And it's been fun to be part of that realm. Energy transition is obviously tantamount to this city. We need to be sure that we're not just the oil and gas capital of the world, but the energy capital of the world.
Yes.
And it's been fun to launch a website in partnership with the Houston Energy Transition Initiative. And so we have, and of course, sportsmap.com covers all the sports scene. ESPN Radio covers the sports scene. But I love having the breadth of our coverage so we get tapped into the different parts of the city. And this city is so rich and vibrant. There's so many dimensions to it. You almost can't cover it all. You can't, frankly. But it's been fun to get to be part of the stories or report the stories or share those stories as they're developing across the city. I really enjoyed that time here at Gal Media.
Well, I think that uniquely positions you to take on this new role. I mean, exactly what you said, over the last, 2 decades or so. For
And
Gal Media.
serious business success also.
Yeah.
I mean,
but this,
one of the very first successful e-commerce sites, Ashford.
Yeah.
So, hey, we wish you all the best, and we will see you on the third Thursday of each month
Yes.
at 4 o'clock.
I
calendar
would
invite
never
is
miss
in
the
your
opportunity
inbox.
to be
I'm
here.
serious. We'll set it up because people will start to count on hearing what you have to say.
Well, and one of the things that we've been talking about that we wanted to have you on to discuss, and obviously we won't do it today, but in the future is around innovation. And in particular,
wanted
now
to get
through
back to
this
that.
lens
Yeah.
that you now have to look through as the president and CEO of the Center for Houston's Future, innovation through that lens. We would love to drill down and learn more, and maybe that's the segment. Maybe you have a reoccurring segment
on innovation.
on innovation.
On innovation and how it's going to shape the future of Houston.
Yeah.
It's a key part of the whole story. It's interesting because, of course, several years back, the development of the Cannon, the development of ION, Greentown Labs, they've been really helpful to fostering innovation in the city and co-locating entrepreneurs founder to founder is really, really important in the midst of the struggles of entrepreneurialism. But those things, those entities have had some ups and downs too. And,
Yes.
Growth and innovation is usually not a straight line up. We have some ups and downs and zigs
Yes.
and gags. But I really think Houston's on a great trajectory on the innovation front and being much more tech savvy.
Yes.
And so I think this is a really good, fruitful window for the city.
I hope so. And we're getting more venture capital too, right?
We're getting more venture capital, which is key to that. And I mean, clearly it was an important thing to the previous mayor. I think it's an important thing to this mayor. And Bob Harvey's leadership from the Greater Houston Partnership was a big push in the development of new innovation ecosystems in the city.
Well, great. So more to come when you come back and do your innovation segment.
I
We'll
look
think
forward
of
to
a
that.
fun name, but for right now, that's what we'll call it.
Good.
So
you.
fun having you in the studio. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, we'll come back. Bye. Bye.